Hello, everybody. My name is Taylor Berry, and today I will be presenting my journal club presentation on the study titled Social Media Influencer Marketing in Children's Food Intake, a Randomized Trial. The clinical question I wanted to find more literature on was, how does online food marketing increase children's food and beverage intake? When searching the literature, I found this article, and this article hit many keywords that I was looking for when searching through the literature. The fact that this article focused on specifically social media influencers is what really drew it to me. The impact that social media influencers has on people today is really huge, and I find this to be very interesting. This article also focused on children's intake, which was the focus of my clinical question. The concern for this article was childhood obesity. Foods high in saturated fat, salt, and sugar are heavily marketed and easily found by children. This topic has not yet been researched, making this study the first of its kind. The study took place in 2019. Social media influencers continue to grow and are very popular among children. Some of the most popular influencers you'll find on YouTube and Instagram. This topic is relevant and important to look at because, as the social learning theory says, children's liking of a character increases the probability of imitating the character's actions. And this makes sense because if you think about it, many brands will seek out influencers to advertise their products because of the amount of followers they have and how easily they can reach them compared to traditional celebrities. And in the article, it states that children have reported that they trust influencers more than traditional celebrities such as movie stars, TV stars, and singers. So the goal of this article is to assess social media influencers' marketing of both healthy and unhealthy foods and its effect on children's food intake. For this article, there are two research questions. The first one is, how does marketing unhealthy food items to children aged 9 to 11 years increase the intake of unhealthy food items when compared to children exposed to non-food marketing items? The second one is very similar. How does marketing healthy food items to children aged 9 to 11 years increase their intake of healthy foods when compared to children exposed to non-food marketing items? So here I broke down the research question into the PICO format. The population was children ages 9 to 11 years with a starting sample of 178 participants. The final sample size was 176 participants due to two of the participants not being accounted for since they did not finish the research study. The intervention is healthy and unhealthy food item marketing. The control is non-food item marketing, and the outcome was children's food intake of healthy or unhealthy food items increases. This study included three hypotheses. The first one is children exposed to social media marketing of snack foods, healthy or unhealthy, would consume more snacks compared with children exposed to marketing for a non-food item. The second and third hypotheses are very similar to the first one, except the second one focuses specifically on unhealthy snacks and consuming more unhealthy snacks, children exposed to marketing for a non-food item. And the third one focuses specifically on healthy snacks and consuming more healthy snacks compared with the children exposed to marketing for a non-food item. So now I wanted to discuss a little bit about who wrote the paper. So on the right side, you can see the authors. The first one is Anna E. Coates. She is the one who designed and conducted the research, analyzed the data, wrote the article, and had primary responsibility for the final content. She has a master's in philosophy. The next one I wanted to talk about is Jason. He is the head of the Department of the Psychological Sciences at the University of Liverpool. And all of these authors are based out of the University of Liverpool, which is in the UK. And they have a strong interest in obesity. So this article was written and published in the Pediatrics Journal, and that journal has an impact factor of 5.417, which means that the articles published in this journal 1 to 2 years ago have been cited about 5.417 times. This journal also has a circulation of 67,000, and that is international. All right, so moving on, we're going to start talking about the methodology. So the study design, as given away in the title of this article, is a randomized controlled trial. This is appropriate for this research question and the subject under investigation because it studies one population. It is studying the effectiveness and safety of the outcome variable, in which in this case is the marketing exposure to children. The study population is children up to 13 years of age and those who are active on social media. When looking at the inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria for this study, it's pretty simple. Inclusion includes no allergies, has signed parental consent to participate, and they were 13 years of age or younger. And exclusion criteria was basically the opposite of that, children who had allergies and those who did not have signed parental consent. So with the 178 participants, they were randomly assigned to an influencer marketing condition. There were 3 marketing influencer condition categories, as you can see, healthy, unhealthy, and non-food marketing, which was the control. The researchers created fake Instagram accounts to mock 2 popular influencers. These influencers were very popular YouTube vloggers. They were both in their 20s, and they made sure to include 1 man and 1 woman. They would have the participants view both mock influencer accounts and the order in which the participants viewed the influencers and how they were assigned to the condition, all done by using randomizer.org. By allocating the participants into groups, this helped prevent bias and also preventing the researchers from having any influence on who was in which group. The participants were also similar at baseline, including age, no allergies, all from the same area, which was the UK, and they were in school. Okay, so I wanted to go a little bit more in depth about the Instagram accounts that were created and explain a little bit more about those. So each influencer had only a few pictures posted, and some of the pictures included the marketing items, which were snacks because they were most often marketed towards children. For the healthy group, something they may market or have pictured was a banana. For the unhealthy group, they may have pictured something similar to a chocolate chip cookie. And for the control group, it would be something like branded sneakers. Next, we're going to discuss some things that were measured. The first is BMI. This was categorized on a basis of age and sex-specific BMI. They used the World Health Organization Anthroplus software to calculate any adjustments. They also measured hunger, which was subjective, using 100mm visual analog scales. And caloric intake was also measured. Children followed an ad libitum style of eating and were able to eat from a selection of snacks provided to them. Ad libitum diet means you eat when you're hungry and you stop when you're full. So you eat based on your level of satiety, meaning you can eat as much food as you want. Some of the snacks included for the unhealthy snacks was jelly, candy, or chocolate buttons. Healthy snacks included carrots and seedless white grapes. So for the procedure, they used a social media questionnaire, which consisted of 18 closed-ended questions that asked about internet use and activities performed on social media. They also asked about the liking of mock Instagram influencers with a yes or no question. How they went about completing the study was they first had the students complete a hunger visual analog scale. Then they each had them review both influencers for 1 minute apiece. They were then served 4 snacks, none that were pictured or visible on the influencer's page. They had 10 minutes to eat what they wanted, and then the remaining snacks were removed and weighed. Then after all that was completed, they had the students complete the questionnaire, and then they recorded the student's height and weight. And this process was consistent throughout all of the participants. So next we're going to talk about the statistical analysis. All analyses were conducted using SPSS software. They used Pearson's correlation coefficient, multivariate analysis of covariance, post hoc tests, and two-tailed t-test with a p-value greater than 0.05. The first is Pearson's correlation coefficient. This was used to determine which factors should be used as variables, and it measures the strength of the association between those two variables. Next is the multivariate analysis of covariance. This was used to see if there were any statistically significant mean differences among the groups. In other words, it tells us if the group differences happen by chance or if it's just a repeatable trend. The post hoc test examined the difference between conditions with the Bonferroni adjustments, and significance was assessed using the two-tailed t-test with the p-value greater than 0.05, which means we would accept the null hypothesis. Displayed is Table 2, which shows Pearson's correlations. It shows hunger, previous influencer exposure, and liking of Instagram profiles, and how they were related to kcal intake, and included covariance in the analyses. Displayed next is Table 3, and this shows the results from the multivariate analysis of covariance. This found that there was a significant effect on marketing exposure condition on total calorie intake. This had a p-value equal to 0.001, which would mean that we would reject the null hypothesis. This also showed that there was no significant difference in overall calories consumed between the healthy condition and the control condition. This had a p-value equal to 0.55, meaning that we would accept the null hypothesis. And both of these partially supported their first hypothesis. This test also found that there was a significant effect on the marketing exposure condition on calorie intake from unhealthy food alone, with a p-value equal to 0.001, meaning that we would reject the null hypothesis. And lastly, there was no significant difference in unhealthy snack calories consumed, and this was between the healthy and the control condition, with a p-value equal to 0.76, meaning that we would accept the null hypothesis, and both of these supported their second hypothesis. Overall, they ended up with a final sample of 176 participants due to 2 of them being excluded from not completing the study. All the results were clearly stated, and the charts matched the information that they were presenting. The results showed that if children's overall calorie intake will increase if exposed to marking of unhealthy snacks recently before consumption compared to children who are exposed to healthy food or non-food marketing. The results also showed when exposed to marketing of unhealthy snacks, children's calorie intake from unhealthy snacks also increased compared to the other conditions. However, there was no effect from healthy snack marketing. The conclusion statement for this study is marketing of unhealthy snacks by influencers increases children's immediate calorie intake of those specific foods. With healthy foods, there was not the same effect. The limitations of this study were that there was only 2 influencers used in the study. Children may have spoken to each other even though they were advised not to speak to each other about the study, and that the study was a cross-sectional study. The strengths of the study included data collection was cost efficient, and there was a small number of subjects, which was good since this was a new hypothesis to test. The study's call to action was recommending there be food marketing restrictions applied to digital marketing on social media, since this is where many children spend a lot of their time, and they also suggested that they conduct the study long-term to see how the effects may differ. Lastly, how may this change clinical practice? Well, it's working towards helping to reduce obesity in children. We're finding ways to change how things are marketed towards children without taking away the technology, but also protecting them and helping them to be healthy. And the study shows the impact that influencers have, and it gives us a better understanding of how to control it. That's everything. Thank you so much.